Good morning and welcome to Sailing Sur Levant. This morning we are sailing north on the Chesapeake Bay and we are at a point of sail called Wing and Wing. So I thought this would be a good time to go over the setup for Wing and Wing and how it's used. As I said, we're sailing downwind. We left Deltaville this morning, our anchorage there, and we're sailing out into the bay. The wind is a little bit to the southwest. So it's behind us as we're sailing out into the bay. So we're sailing downwind, and if I had both sails off to the same side as you would normally have when you're sailing on any kind of reach, close reach, beam reach, broad reach, both sails would be on the leeward side. The wind would be blowing from one side and then the sails would be sitting on the other side. But because the wind is directly behind us, if I had both sails off to one side, the mainsail would block the head sail. And the head sail would just flop around and not really get any wind in it, and hence it wouldn't have any power to drive the boat. So today I set up what's called Wing and Wing. And I'll spin this around and we'll take a quick look. I've got the mainsail off to starboard. And then I've got the head sail up there. And as we roll a little bit, it goes back and forth. But for the most part, it's full and it's sailing well. So the primary feature when you're setting up the Wing and Wing has to do with the mainsail. If you're running downwind, there's a chance, due to this wave action or maybe shifts in the wind, that you've got the mainsail out all the way to one side, and then accidentally you turn a little bit, or you're not paying attention and the wind shifts a little bit and the wind gets behind the mainsail. And because it's all the way out, it's got all that line to let it out there, it can be quite loose, and if the wind gets behind the sail, instead of pushing on it, it gets to the backside, it can actually swing it across the boat rapidly. It's called an accidental jibe. And an accidental jibe is a very dangerous situation on a boat. Actually, one of the things that will take you out, basically knock you in the head with that boom swinging across on an accidental jibe, will crack your skull, knock you overboard. Good luck getting back. A lot of people pass on from accidental jibes cracking into the skull. So we want to prevent that at all costs. So to set up a preventer, which is a line that you use to prevent that boom from swinging across in case it accidentally gets backwinded, we set up what's called a preventer. And to set a preventer, you set yourself up on a reach. So I put the wind, in this case, I put the wind on the port side, and I was sailing with the head sail and the mainsail both off to the starboard side. And then I ran a line from my cockpit winch, see down here, and this line goes down the deck and it goes up to a block that I've attached up here on the rail. I hope you guys can see that. So at that rail, then it turns and it comes up and it's tied off at the boom. There we go. So that line, should the wind shift around and get behind the sail and try to push it across, that line will prevent the boom from swinging across. Now that's a situation when you're sailing Wing and Wing like this, you want to pay attention to, because it's not that you're preventing the wind from getting behind the sail. That could still happen. What you're preventing is, when that does happen, you're preventing that boom from come swinging across. So as you're sailing along, if you happen to hear, and you'll most likely hear it, and the boat will start behaving, if the wind gets behind the sail and tries to push it across, this preventer line, which is a beefy line because it has to hold that boom if it's backwinded, if it gets backwinded, you need to quickly turn the boat more downwind so that you can once again get the wind behind the sail. So you want to listen for that. If it gets backwinded, then switch it around. No hat challenges. Okay, so once you've got, it's a little chilly out here this morning. I think I came back to the bay a little too early in May. Mid-May may have been a little warmer. So that's the preventer setup. Prevents the boom from swinging across the boat when it gets backwinded. So once you've got that set up, then you would, remember we set that up on this case on a port reach with the wind over the port. Both sails are on the starboard side. So now we want to flip the mainsail over to the port side. So at that point, we've got it prevented. We can start running downwind. And we can actually even turn it a little bit so that the back of the sail is almost into the wind. So we're sailing on the lee, as they call it. And then we pull our mainsail out across to the leeward side because we've turned away from the wind. We've come across, and now the mainsail can run out to the port side in this case and stay full, and it doesn't get caught behind the mainsail. The wind that comes off the mainsail goes over and fills the head sail, and we get power from both sails pushing us down the bay. So that's the setup on Sur Le Vent when I want to run wing and wing. And this is currently set up with the mainsail off on the starboard side and preventer on the starboard side, but there's no reason that I couldn't set it up with the block on the port side and run them just the opposite if I wanted to go over towards the south a little bit more. But you generally set it up so that like right now, the wind is more on coming off our starboard stern. And so that's the side the mainsail gets set up on, is the side to the wind, because the preventer will hold it in place over there, and then that allows the head sail to float freely out there with good wind and to power us down the bay. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you'll give wing and wing a try at some point. It's better when you're starting out maybe to reef the mainsail a little bit so you don't have the whole mainsail up there to deal with when you're doing your wing and wing. In fact, if you look currently, I'm running my second reef. I always find it a little better to run a second reef when I'm running wing and wing, because that allows more flow to go to the mainsail. It doesn't interrupt the flow as much. But I have run it with a full sail. But at 20 knots, which I anticipated today, the second reef is good. So if you don't know what a reef is, stay tuned. We'll do a video about reefing at some point in the future. But for right now, that winds up our wing and wing. Please let me know if you have any questions, and have a wonderful day.